Welcome to today's transformation dive here at Earn Flow Zone, where we cut through the noise and focus on what actually builds wealth and a powerful financial mindset. Let's be real. Are you secretly waiting for that one massive break? You know the one, the surprise inheritance, the stock that moons overnight, the business idea that goes viral before you even finish the prototype. You picture that single moment where all your money problems vanish, and you suddenly have the freedom you crave. It's a powerful fantasy, isn't it? But what if I told you that dream might be the very thing holding you back from the steady, predictable growth that actually creates lasting financial security? Too many people get stuck in the big break waiting room, while opportunity after opportunity passes them by, disguised as small, tedious tasks. We're going to pull back the curtain on that today and reveal why the most successful people aren't just lucky, they're consistently doing the boring stuff you might be overlooking. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Seriously, it's a small click for you, a giant leap for the channel. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win, whether it's finally starting a budget or resisting that impulse buy last week. I love hearing your wins. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You're staring at your goals. Maybe it's a down payment on a place, wiping out debt, or finally building a real investment portfolio. It feels impossible, massive. You tell yourself you need a promotion, a sudden inheritance, a winning lottery ticket, or maybe just a cosmic shift where money miraculously appears. You dream of the big break, that one huge event that changes everything overnight. The truth? That's probably the biggest money myth holding you back. It's not about the infrequent, massive win. It's about the boring, consistent, tiny steps you take every single day. Think about it. You see people who seem to have it all: the financial freedom, the career momentum, the quiet confidence around money. You imagine they must have had some giant stroke of luck, some unfair advantage. And maybe some did. But for most, the real engine of their success wasn't one explosive moment. It was the relentless, often invisible practice of showing up and doing the small things consistently. It's like wanting to be a marathon runner, but only training once a month for 8 hours straight. Painful, ineffective, and you burn out fast. Real runners train a little bit, almost every day. They build endurance not in one heroic feat, but in countless unremarkable miles. Your financial and personal success is built the exact same way. The core concept here is shifting your focus from the elusive jackpot to the power of marginal gains. This challenges the common thinking that only drastic measures or external windfalls make a difference. A surprising fact: most millionaires built their wealth over time through consistent saving and investing, not winning the lottery or landing one massive deal. The surprising habit you need to cultivate is celebrating the tiny wins, tracking every dollar spent for a week, saving $5 more than planned, reading one page of a finance book. This might sound ridiculously simple, even boring, but it's the daily repetition that rewires your brain and your bank account. It's the financial equivalent of showing up for that daily mile, even when you don't feel like it. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from starting small? Is it the feeling that tiny steps are insignificant? Are you letting perfectionism be the enemy of progress? This one habit changed everything for me. I stopped waiting for the right time to make big financial changes and instead committed to one small, easy financial task every single day. It could be checking my bank balance, transferring $10 to savings, or just opening my budget spreadsheet. It felt like throwing pebbles into an ocean at first, but the consistency built momentum. This isn't about depriving yourself. It's about empowering yourself through daily action. It's about understanding the cause-effect. Small, consistent actions compound over time into significant results, while waiting for a big break usually results in, well, more waiting. So let's slow down for a moment and really let this sink in. The one big takeaway from today is that the pursuit of a big break is a distraction. It pulls your energy away from the fertile ground of daily consistent action where real growth happens. Think about that marathon runner again. They don't wake up one morning and run 26 miles. They build that capacity over months, even years, of showing up for those short runs, doing those stretches, eating right, resting. It's the cumulative effect of seemingly insignificant efforts. The potential long-term benefit of embracing this isn't just a healthier bank account. It's a profound shift in your relationship with money and success. You stop feeling like a victim waiting for luck and start feeling like a creator, actively building your future piece by piece. This builds confidence, resilience, and a quiet power that no external break can ever give you. It's a deeper insight. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the path to freedom. The daily practice of managing your money, learning more, and making conscious choices isn't about restricting your life. It's about expanding its possibilities. It's about understanding that true wealth isn't just a number in an account, but the result of consistent, wise stewardship over time. It's the harvest of countless small seeds planted daily. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Okay, let's be real for a second. You just paid the bills, maybe bought groceries, and you look at your bank balance. If you're anything like I used to be, or like so many people I talk to, you just wince. Maybe you see a number that feels depressingly low, or maybe it's just flat after everything's gone out. And you think, okay, I should save, but what's the point of putting away $5, $10? It's not going to make me rich. It feels like trying to fill a bathtub with an eyedropper. This is where that sneaky big break myth creeps in, whispering, don't bother with the small stuff. Just wait for that big promotion, that lottery win, that inheritance. That's the moment many people throw in the towel, before they even start. But here's the powerful reframe, the core concept that shifts everything. That tiny, consistent drop isn't just a $5 or $10. It is a declaration. It's you telling your future self, I matter. My financial health matters. More importantly, it's building the habit of saving. You are building the muscle of delayed gratification, rep by tiny rep. Think of it like starting at the gym. You don't start by lifting 1,000,000 pounds. You start with the bar, or even just bodyweight squats. It feels small, maybe even a little silly compared to the pros, but you're not training to lift the weight today. You're training to build the habit of showing up. You're training the muscle to get stronger over time. That tiny amount saved consistently, week after week, even $5 or $10, and yes, eventually invested. It begins a compound effect. And I'm not just talking about the money slowly adding up, though it does. The real magic is about your confidence growing exponentially, your discipline getting stronger. Every time you make that small transfer, you prove to yourself you can do it. you are winning a tiny victory over inertia and the big break lie. Imagine that beginner saving $10 a week. Yes, that's only $520 a year. Doesn't sound like much, does it? Let's add a little humor. Might cover a fancy dinner. By yourself, maybe. But what if they do that for 5 years? That's $2,600 saved, plus whatever small growth they get from simple investing they started learning thanks to the habit. And what if, after seeing progress and gaining confidence, they get a raise and painlessly increase that to $25 a week? Suddenly, that small drop gets bigger. But the surprising insight here, the myth busted, isn't the dollar amount. It's the behavior being hardwired. You are training yourself, deliberately, intentionally, to prioritize your future self over your present whims. This isn't about being rich overnight. It's about becoming the kind of person who becomes financially secure over time. So here's the action, the simple step. For the next 4 weeks, I want you to try this. Automate a transfer of the smallest amount that feels almost ridiculous. $5, $10, whatever feels genuinely painless, into a separate savings account. Set it up to happen the day after you get paid. That buffer day is key. Don't miss it. Just build the habit. Trust the process. The ocean starts with a single drop. So you've started thinking differently about your money, maybe taking those initial steps we talked about. But then you hit the next hurdle. You know you need to learn more. More about personal finance basics, investing strategies, or maybe even a new skill essential for boosting your career and income potential. And that's when the dread sets in. It feels less like climbing a gentle hill and more like staring up at the sheer face of Mount Everest, right? The sheer volume of information out there is staggering. There are literally thousands of books, countless podcasts, endless online courses, YouTube tutorials on everything from budgeting apps to advanced options trading. Where on earth do you even begin to navigate this overwhelming landscape? The common reaction, and one I fell into for years, is to think you need to dedicate massive blocks of time. You picture yourself blocking out an entire weekend, locking yourself away, immersing yourself completely in spreadsheets, charts, and dense financial jargon, hoping to emerge 48 hours later as some kind of overnight expert. It feels like the only way to make a dent in the mountain. But honestly, how often does that intense, infrequent approach actually work? In reality, life gets in the way. That blocked-out weekend gets eaten up by unexpected errands, social obligations, or simply burnout. The sheer pressure of trying to absorb everything at once is overwhelming, and the plan collapses before it even truly begins. You try to cram, just like we used to cram for exams in school, right? Here's the surprising insight, the fundamental shift that changes everything. Learning, especially complex topics like managing your money or building wealth, isn't about heroic, infrequent sprints. It's a layer cake, beautifully and stably built, one thin, consistent layer at a time. Think about it this way. Who gets stronger and fitter? The person who attempts a single, exhausting 8-hour workout once a month, or the person who commits to just 30 minutes of focused exercise every single day? The answer is obvious. A beginner in finance or investing who commits to just 15 minutes every single day, reading one page from a good finance book, listening to a short 10-minute podcast snippet on a specific topic, or watching one concise tutorial video will learn exponentially more. And here's the critical part. They will retain exponentially more than the person attempting that 8-hour cram session once a month. Why? Because consistency builds neural pathways. It reinforces concepts. Those small, daily exposures add up, layer by layer, creating a robust foundation of understanding. You build upon what you learned yesterday, rather than trying to rebuild knowledge after a long gap. Remember trying to cram for that history exam or algebra test back in the day? You might have managed to pass the test the next morning by stuffing your brain with facts. But a month later, most of it was probably gone. Cramming gets you short-term results. Consistent, focused learning builds long-term, usable knowledge. This consistent, low-intensity exposure isn't over. So here is the action to build your first layer of this learning cake. Try this for a week. Commit to just 15 minutes of focused learning on money, investing, or a career-boosting skill. Set a timer. Do this at the same time every day. Maybe during your commute, while you have your morning coffee, or right before bed. When the timer rings, stop. Don't go over. This isn't about finishing a chapter. It's about the consistent habit. Just see how much you absorb in those 15 minutes. You might be surprised by the quiet accumulation of knowledge. This one habit changed everything for me in turning overwhelming information into actionable understanding. You know that feeling? The one where you decide, okay, this is it. I'm finally going to budget. You download an app, meticulously track every single coffee, every snack, everything for like 3 days. You feel incredibly virtuous, maybe a little smug even. But then disaster strikes. An impulse buy, maybe something you needed or just wanted on a tough day. The perfect tracking is broken. And just like that, you give up. See, you think, I told you, I'm just bad with money. This is the classic budgeting crash diet. Intense, restrictive, and ultimately unsustainable. You're treating your finances like you're trying to drop 10 pounds in a week by eating nothing but lettuce. The real, surprising insight, the one that changed everything for me and for so many others, is this. Budgeting isn't about perfect restriction. It's about consistent awareness and flexible adjustment. It's not a rigid cage designed to make you feel guilty. It's a map you check regularly to see where you are and where you're headed. The crash diet approach fails because it focuses on punishment and deprivation. You're constantly battling against your natural desires. The lifestyle approach, on the other hand, builds a foundation of understanding. When you know where your money actually goes, you can make conscious choices without feeling like you're constantly saying no to yourself. It shifts from, I can't spend, to, is this where I want my money to go? Think about managing your physical health. Do you only think about your diet and exercise when you need to squeeze into a specific outfit next week? No, or at least you shouldn't. Sustainable health isn't about starving yourself for a few days. It's about consistent habits, mindful eating, regular movement, maybe a weekly check-in with your weight or how your clothes fit. It's an ongoing process of monitoring and adjusting based on how you feel and what your goals are. Budgeting is the financial equivalent of this consistent, mindful living. Now, I hear you. Maybe your financial life feels more complicated than ever. More subscriptions than you can name, and probably forgot you even had. Different income streams, various savings goals. For a growing earner, the idea of tracking everything feels impossible, maybe even overwhelming. But this complexity is precisely why consistent, even brief, check-ins are non-negotiable. You wouldn't navigate a complex city without glancing at your map more than once. So let's ditch the crash diet mentality. Forget the perfect tracking apps for a moment. We're going to start with awareness. Here's the simple, powerful action step. Instead of attempting a full budget overhaul, just open up your banking app and credit card statements. Spend just 10 minutes 3 times this week reviewing your transactions. Not to judge yourself, not to feel bad about that impulse buy, but purely to observe, where did your money actually go? Which stores did you visit? What categories dominate your spending? This seems almost too simple, right? But this consistent, low-stakes check-in builds crucial awareness. It's like shining a light into the dark corners of your spending habits. You start to see patterns you never noticed before. Maybe you didn't realize how much those small daily purchases add up, or how many subscriptions are draining your account without you even using them. This awareness is the necessary first step towards making any change. You can't change what you don't see. Try this for a week. Just 10 minutes, 3 times. Make it a consistent habit. Maybe tie it to something you already do, like checking social media or having your morning coffee. Just open the statement, scroll, and observe. This one habit changed everything for me because it took the fear and judgment out of looking at my money. It became a regular check-in, like weighing yourself weekly, rather than a painful confrontation only when things felt desperate. Remember, budgeting is not a punishment or a temporary phase. It's a fundamental part of managing your financial health, like brushing your teeth or getting enough sleep. It's a lifestyle of consistent awareness and gentle adjustment, not an all-or-nothing diet. Start small, build the habit, and watch how this consistent awareness transforms your relationship with your money. You know, after you start building momentum, there's another trap ambitious people fall into. It's the pressure to always be hitting home runs. Every project needs to be a massive success, every pitch perfect, every side hustle immediately profitable. You launch something, and if it doesn't land exactly as planned or progress is slow, it's incredibly easy to get discouraged. You start thinking, if it's not going to be huge right away, why bother putting in the effort? You wait for that magical spark of inspiration, or for the perfect conditions that never seem to arrive. And in waiting, you do nothing at all. It's like wanting to bake a perfect cake, but refusing to start mixing ingredients because you don't have a Michelin star oven. Seriously, who has one of those? But here's the surprising truth that completely flips that idea on its head. Success, especially in building something significant, whether it's a business, a new skill, or your financial future, is far more about consistent effort than it is about consistent perfection or immediate massive results. It's the simple, often unglamorous, act of showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it, even when the results seem minimal, that separates those who build something real from those who only ever dream about it. Think about writing a book, a truly relatable example. Nobody writes a bestseller in one epic, flawless session fueled by caffeine and creative lightning. They write a little bit, often badly, every single day. They might churn out terrible prose, delete chapters, and feel like giving up constantly. But they show up. That consistency is the quiet, unstoppable engine that eventually produces a finished manuscript, which can then be edited, refined, and potentially become something amazing. The cause and effect here is simple. Consistent small actions build cumulative momentum and output, whereas waiting for perfection leads to inaction and zero output. Showing up isn't about feeling inspired. It's about building discipline. And discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. This one habit, the power of showing up, fundamentally changed everything for me. It removed the crushing pressure of needing every action to be a masterpiece and replaced it with the quiet power of consistent progress. So, try this for a week. Pick one significant long-term goal you have. Maybe it's saving for a down payment, learning a new skill for a side hustle, or building a personal brand online. Now break it down into the absolute smallest possible action you can take today. And I mean tiny. It could be committing to just 30 minutes of focused work, sending one specific email related to your goal, making just one phone call, writing only 200 words, or transferring just $5 to a savings account. Do only that small, manageable thing. But the crucial part? Do it consistently, every single day this week. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry if it feels insignificant. Just show up and do that one small thing. See how the simple act of consistent effort starts to shift your mindset and build momentum, proving that showing up is half the battle and often the better half. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive. Let's be honest. We've all scrolled through social media feeds filled with gurus flaunting Lambos and telling you to hustle harder, right? It's enough to make you want to just bury your head in the sand and pretend money isn't a thing. You see people stressing about market crashes, chasing the next hot stock, feeling like you're constantly playing catch-up in a race you never entered. Maybe you've even tried some complicated budget that felt more like a straitjacket than a financial plan. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, like you need a finance degree just to figure out how to save a few bucks or make your money actually do something for you. The truth is, building financial freedom and personal growth isn't about magic bullets or superhuman effort. It's about understanding simple principles and applying consistent, smart habits. It's about finding your earn flow zone, that place where earning, saving, and investing feel less like a chore and more like a natural part of building the life you want. We're here to cut through the noise, ditch the jargon, and give you practical strategies that actually work for real people with real lives. This isn't about overnight riches. It's about steady, sustainable growth. It's about empowering you to take control. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube this is valuable. And it helps us reach more people looking for practical paths to financial well-being. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, or your biggest money habit win. We love hearing your stories and seeing the Earn Flow Zone community grow. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. So, you've got your budget dialed in. Maybe started building an emergency fund. Now comes the part that makes a lot of people freeze up: investing. The very word can feel heavy, loaded with images of frantic traders glued to screens, complex charts, and the constant pressure to time the market. You might delay entirely because you don't know the perfect first stock to buy. Maybe you've earned a decent income but feel paralyzed by the sheer number of investment options: stocks, bonds, crypto, real estate, futures, options. It's a lot. Ambitious builders might even fall into the trap of thinking they need some secret, complex strategy to get ahead, believing that the simple path couldn't possibly be powerful enough for their goals. It feels like you need to be a financial wizard, constantly buying low and selling high, predicting the future. Here's the surprising insight. one that's been proven over decades and championed by legendary investors like Warren Buffett. For most people, most of the time, consistent, automated investing into broad market funds is incredibly powerful. It's the set-it-and-forget-it approach, and it works precisely because it removes emotion from the equation and leverages the incredible power of time and compound growth. Trying to time the market is like trying to time a hurricane. Unpredictable, dangerous, and you're almost guaranteed to get wet, or worse. You'll likely buy high out of FOMO and sell low out of fear. Instead, think about nurturing something that needs consistent care. It's like watering a plant. You don't flood it once every few months, hoping that single drenching will sustain it. That would likely drown it or leave it parched. Instead, you give it a consistent, appropriate amount of water regularly. That steady nourishment over time helps it grow strong and healthy. Consistent investing, known as dollar cost averaging, DCA, is the financial equivalent of that steady rain. You invest a fixed amount of money at regular intervals, regardless of whether the market is up or down. When the market is down, your fixed amount buys more shares. When it's up, it buys fewer. Over time, this strategy smooths out your average purchase price and prevents you from making emotional decisions based on market volatility. It takes the guesswork and the stress out of it. This one habit changed everything for me because it shifted investing from a complex, anxiety-inducing task into a predictable, automatic process. It's not about being smarter than the market. It's about being consistent with the market. Your actionable step right now is simple but transformative. Research one low-cost, broad market index fund. This could be an S&P 500 fund, a total stock market fund, or a total international stock market fund. Look for funds with very low expense ratios. The lower the cost, the more of the return stays in your pocket. Websites like Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, or even robo-advisors offer these. Once you've identified one, set up an automated transfer from your checking account to an investment account to buy a fixed amount of this fund every single payday. Start small if you need to. $25, $50, whatever is feasible, but make it consistent. The magic is in the consistency and the automation, not the initial amount. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from setting up that automated investment today? Is it fear of the unknown? The perceived complexity? Decide on your fund, decide on your amount, and set it up. Then, mostly, let it do its thing. So we've talked about making money flow, mastering your spending, building that crucial safety net, tackling debt strategically, setting clear goals, and automating your wealth building through consistent, broad market investing. Take a moment to reflect on how far we've come, even just in understanding these concepts. The big takeaway from all of this, and especially from that last piece on investing, isn't about needing some innate financial genius. It's about cultivating discipline and embracing simplicity and consistency. People often underestimate the sheer power of compounding, not just in their investments, but in their habits. Just like that consistent trickle of water helps the plant thrive over time, consistent, small, smart financial actions add up to monumental growth. Think about the potential long-term benefit if you take action on even one or two of these ideas. Setting up that automated investment, tracking your spending for a month, building that small emergency fund. It's not just about having more money later. It's about the freedom, The reduced stress, the confidence that comes from knowing you are actively building a secure future. You're not hoping for success, you are designing it, one consistent step at a time. A deeper insight about money and growth in general is that it's less about willpower and more about systems. By automating savings, automating investments, and setting up clear spending rules, you remove the need for daily decisions and rely on a structure that supports your goals. You build momentum not through sporadic bursts of effort, but through steady, relentless progress. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Okay, let's dive into expanding Section 7, focusing on building resilience daily within the Earn Flow Zone framework. You've heard it before, maybe lived it just last week. Life hits you square in the face. A transmission goes out. The doctor calls about an unexpected bill. A freelance project you were counting on vanishes. Or perhaps a side hustle fails to launch after months of effort. These aren't just minor inconveniences, they can feel like outright financial or personal catastrophes. And what's the default reaction for so many? It's a devastating blow. You've been building positive financial habits, saving, budgeting, learning, and this one event feels like it nullifies everything. You think, well, that's that. And you give up. You decide the whole system is broken, or that you'll just wait for things to magically be perfect again before attempting to restart. It's like hitting a reset button you didn't want to push, often leading to weeks or months of inertia, right when consistent action is needed most. But here's the surprising insight, the kind of perspective shift that changes the game. Resilience isn't actually about avoiding the fall. It's not about having a perfectly smooth ride where setbacks simply don't happen. That's a fantasy we chase, but never catch. True resilience, the kind that builds lasting financial and personal strength, is measured by the speed and consistency with which you get back up after you've fallen. It's the small, often uncomfortable, consistent actions you manage to take even when things feel utterly overwhelming and messy that prevent a momentary setback from spiraling into a complete collapse. Think of it like training for a marathon. You'll have bad days. You might miss a run or two, but you don't decide the entire race is off. You just get back to your training plan tomorrow. Or the classic relatable example, falling off a diet. Eating a single cookie doesn't ruin your health or your plan. What ruins it is deciding, okay, I ate one, the day is ruined, and proceeding to eat the whole box, then giving up on healthy eating for weeks because you feel defeated. Financial setbacks operate on the exact same principle. An unexpected $500 expense doesn't automatically mean you have to abandon your entire budget and savings plan for the rest of the month or year. That single event is not the catastrophic failure. The failure comes if you decide that setback means you might as well stop tracking expenses, stop saving, and just spend wildly until things feel better. That's the true derailment. Instead, you acknowledge the setback, you deal with the unexpected cost, however painful that is, and then, this is the crucial part, the surprising habit that changes everything. You immediately return to your one or two core consistent habits. Maybe that's tracking your spending for the rest of the day, or reviewing your budget even though it looks rough, or simply reading 10 pages of a financial book. You don't wait for tomorrow. You don't wait for Monday. You don't wait for the start of the next month, when things will be easier. You restart the consistency today, right now, as soon as the immediate crisis is managed. Try this for a week. The moment you face a financial or personal setback, big or small, Instead of letting the wave of defeat wash over you and sideline you, acknowledge the feeling, deal with the immediate problem, and then, within hours, intentionally engage in one of your core growth habits. If you're building a savings habit, transfer just $5. If you're tracking expenses, log the next purchase, no matter how painful the current numbers look. If you're learning, watch one short educational video. This one habit of immediate return to consistency, even in a tiny way, builds the muscle of resilience. It teaches you that a stumble is just a part of the path, not a reason to stop walking entirely. It's the difference between a momentary dip and a complete freefall, and it's a skill built daily, not inherited. All right, let's talk about one of the sneakiest self-sabotage tactics out there, the someday trap. You know it well. It sounds something like this. Someday, I'll really get serious about saving. Or perhaps, someday, when things settle down, I'll finally figure out investing. Maybe it's even, someday, I'll launch that side hustle I've been dreaming about. You might tell yourself, someday, when I have more time, more money, or more knowledge, then I'll start. Here's the surprising, perhaps uncomfortable truth. Someday is arguably the most dangerous word in your vocabulary when it comes to progress. It's a comfortable, soft lie that allows you to avoid the immediate, often slightly awkward discomfort of starting small right now, today. People often vastly underestimate the power of tiny, imperfect action. You might be waiting for the planets to align, for a sudden windfall, or for a moment of perfect clarity where you know exactly every step of the journey. But that moment, it rarely arrives. The perfect time is a myth. Think about it like getting in shape. You want to feel healthier, have more energy. The someday version says, I'll start my diet and gym routine after the holidays, or maybe next Monday. Definitely when the gym isn't so crowded. Meanwhile, today, you could take a 20-minute brisk walk around the block. You could choose the stairs. You intuitively know that today's small action, however imperfect or inconvenient, is infinitely better than waiting for a mythical someday. The same principle applies directly to your finances and your personal growth goals. Waiting for someday is the ultimate act of choosing perpetual inaction over consistent, albeit messy, action. A beginner who keeps saying, someday I'll learn a marketable skill, waits while opportunities pass. A mid-earner waiting for the right market moment to invest misses out on months or years of potential compounding. An ambitious person with a great idea, waiting for perfect clarity or funding before taking any step towards it, is trapped. They are all victims of the someday trap, paralyzed by the illusion of needing perfect conditions to begin. The truth is, progress comes from imperfect action taken consistently, not from waiting for perfection. Your starting point doesn't matter as much as the fact that you start. So, how do you break free from this comfortable cage? It starts with acknowledging the trap and then taking deliberate action to dismantle it. This isn't about making massive, overwhelming changes overnight. It's about overriding the someday instinct with a today commitment. Identify one someday task that's related to your money, your goals, or your personal growth, something you keep pushing off. Maybe it's setting up an automatic transfer to savings, researching one stock, writing 100 words for that project, or spending 10 minutes organizing your bills. Now break that task down into the smallest possible action you can complete in just 10 minutes or less. Just 10 minutes. And here's the critical part. Do that action today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Then Commit to doing another tiny, imperfect action towards that goal tomorrow. This one habit, starting small, imperfectly, today, can change everything. Consistency. Just the word can feel heavy, can't it? Like hauling a massive weight up a never-ending hill. You feel like you need Herculean willpower just to remember to do the things you know you should be doing every single day. Remember to save that money. Remember to review your budget. Remember to learn about your investments. Your brain is already maxed out handling work, family, social plans, and trying to figure out what's for dinner. Relying solely on raw willpower? Let's be real. That's a recipe for inconsistency, especially when you're tired, stressed, or just plain not feeling it. It's like trying to power a city with a single AA battery. It just won't last. Here's the surprising insight that flips the script. The easiest habits to keep aren't the ones you grit your teeth and force yourself to do, but the ones you don't even have to remember to do. They just happen. Leveraging automation is hands down the ultimate tool for building financial consistency without needing to tap into that limited willpower reserve daily. Think of automation as your financial co-pilot. You set the destination once, and it keeps the plane flying on course, regardless of turbulence or whether you felt like showing up to the cockpit that day. Setting up automatic transfers for your savings, scheduling bill payments so you're never late and never hit with fees, or even automating regular contributions to your investment accounts, this takes the decision-making right out of your hands. It removes the friction, the internal debate, the temptation to just skip it this week. Suddenly, saving isn't a mental battleground. It's just something that happens in the background. It's like subscribing to a service where the value just shows up automatically. Let's use the classic, relatable example: brushing your teeth. Do you wake up every morning and have a lengthy debate with yourself about whether or not you're going to brush your teeth? Do you weigh the pros and cons? Do you tell yourself you'll do it later, then forget? Probably not. For most people, it's an automated, non-negotiable part of their morning routine. It just happens. Why? Because it's a deeply ingrained habit, often set up early in life, that requires almost zero conscious thought or willpower in the moment. Financial consistency can be exactly like that. Once automated, it moves from a daily decision to a silent, powerful process. The cause effect here is simple. Less required daily effort equals more consistent action, which directly leads to predictable financial progress and less stress about falling off track. This one habit of setting up automation changed everything for me in terms of building my emergency fund and retirement savings. Before automation, I'd tell myself I'd transfer money later, and later often turned into never. Once the automatic transfer was set up, the money was gone before I even had a chance to miss it, and my savings account started growing like clockwork. It felt less like discipline and more like magic. So here's your prompt for action this week. Identify one financial action you know you should be doing consistently, but maybe aren't. Saving a specific amount, investing regularly, making an extra debt payment. Now go into your bank's online portal or your brokerage account and set up an automatic transfer or payment for this action. Schedule it to happen on a regular basis, maybe weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, whatever fits your income cycle. Make it happen automatically, starting this week. Take the decision-making out of the equation and install your financial autopilot. You might be surprised how quickly consistency becomes effortless. You realize, for many people, the only time they truly confront their finances is when disaster strikes. An overdraft fee hits your account. You see that looming bill you forgot about, or the dreaded message pops up, "Credit limit reached." This isn't engaging with your money. It's reacting to a crisis. And honestly, who wants to willingly engage with something that only ever brings bad news or stress? This makes money management feel like a punishment, something to be avoided at all costs. Naturally, you become inconsistent with monitoring it, which then leads to more problems down the line because you didn't see them coming. It's not just a cycle. It's a genuinely vicious one that traps countless people in financial anxiety. You avoid looking, things get worse. You look only when forced. You feel bad. You avoid looking again. Sound familiar? But here's the surprising insight, the myth bust that can completely flip this script. Consistently tracking your money, even for just a few minutes a day or week, isn't about finding problems. It's about seeing progress, identifying small wins, and most importantly, catching potential issues early, long before they balloon into full-blown crises. This isn't a punishment. It shifts tracking from a dreaded chore to a powerful tool in your arsenal. Think about it like fitness. People who consistently track their food intake, log their workouts, or even just check their weight weekly are far more likely to reach their fitness goals than those who only step on the scale after, say, a regrettable late-night pizza and streaming marathon. We've all been there, right? If the only time you check the scale is when your pants feel tight, it's always going to be a negative experience. But if you track daily activity, even small progress motivates you. The principle is identical with money. A beginner just tracking where their money goes gains immediate, invaluable awareness. They see where the leaks are. Someone further along, a mid-earner perhaps, consistently tracking their investment growth stays motivated and connected to their long-term goals. And an ambitious builder tracking key business metrics can course-correct proactively, staying firmly on track. The simple act of observation builds understanding and control. It's like knowing if your financial car has enough gas for the journey before you run out on the highway. Or worse, before you find out by hitting empty and realizing you can't afford gas. This one habit changed everything for me, shifting my relationship with my money from one of dread to one of empowered engagement. It's the difference between feeling like a victim of your finances and feeling like the captain of your financial ship. It doesn't require hours of spreadsheet analysis to start. The goal is consistent observation, not deep dissection, unless you want to. It's building a simple, non-threatening ritual. So here's the action you can take right now to break that cycle and start building momentum. Try this for a week. For the next 7 days, set a timer for just 5 minutes each day. Open up your main bank account app or your budgeting software if you use one. Don't stress about analyzing everything or making big decisions. Just look. What changed since yesterday? Where did money come in? Where did money go out? That's it. Just observe. Build that simple, consistent habit of checking in. See what you notice. You might be surprised by how quickly this small act transforms your perspective. Script for Section 11, The Unsexy Secret, Routine. Okay, so we've talked about setting goals, understanding your money beliefs, and even optimizing your spending. But now we arrive at perhaps the most overlooked, yet powerful ingredient in the Earn Flow Zone recipe, routine. Let's be honest, when you picture financial success, what comes to mind? Maybe it's that viral moment of discovering a hidden gem stock that doubles your money overnight, or landing a massive client that catapults your business, or inventing the next big app that sells for millions. We are sold the idea that financial victory is this thrilling, highlight reel event. And yes, those big wins can happen. But here's the unsexy, often ignored truth. The foundation for sustaining any success, or even being in a position to capitalize on a big opportunity when it finally knocks, is built on unglamorous, consistent routine. Think about it. Waking up at roughly the same time each day, establishing a consistent work block where you focus without distraction, making it a non-negotiable habit to review your finances on the same day each week, automating savings transfers the moment your paycheck hits. These aren't viral TikTok trends. They are the invisible habits, the quiet, persistent work happening behind the scenes that create genuine stability and powerful momentum over time. It's like training for a marathon. You don't just show up on race day and expect to perform. You build that endurance, mile by tedious mile, day after day. The race might be the exciting event, but the routine training is what makes it possible. Here's the surprising insight that might flip your thinking. Routine isn't the enemy of excitement or opportunity. It is the fertile ground from which they can grow. People often fear routine equals boredom, equals missing out. But the opposite is true. Chaos breeds unpredictability, stress, and drains your energy just trying to keep up. Consistent routines, on the other hand, create predictable space and energy. They free up mental bandwidth because you're not constantly scrambling or reacting. This stable base gives you the clarity and capacity needed not only to make consistent progress towards your goals, but also to actually see and seize opportunities when they appear. You're not drowning in financial chaos. You have a clear view from a steady ship. Look at any high performer, whether it's an elite athlete perfecting their technique, a world-class musician practicing scales for hours, or a successful CEO managing their schedule with military precision. Their exceptional results aren't random flashes of brilliance. They are the direct consequence of consistent, often boring, daily practice and routine. That's the secret sauce. Showing up consistently, doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. This one habit, building intentional routines, especially around your finances, changed everything for me. It shifted my relationship with money from reactive stress to proactive control. So here is a prompt for action, a small step with potentially massive impact. Try this for a week and then commit to making it a habit. Identify one specific time each week. Maybe it's Sunday evening as you wind down, or Wednesday morning before the workday chaos begins, or even Saturday afternoon. Dedicate just 30 minutes during that consistent block to a specific financial routine. What could that look like? It could be reviewing your bank and credit card statements, planning your spending for the upcoming week, paying bills, or simply spending that time learning something new about investing or budgeting. Put it in your calendar right now, like a doctor's appointment you cannot miss. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from scheduling this non-negotiable financial check-in? Is it the perceived boredom? Is it a fear of facing the numbers? Whatever it is, push past it. Because building this simple, consistent routine is the bedrock upon which your most exciting financial future will be built. Section 12 Content. We've journeyed through building your earn flow zone, talking about dismantling the myth of the overnight success, the big break that rarely comes, and instead focusing on the foundational power of small, consistent actions. Think about it like building a skyscraper, not with one giant lift, but brick by brick, floor by floor. Your path to financial freedom, unshakable confidence, and lasting success isn't built on those rare, earth-shattering sprints, but forged in the relentless, often boring, consistency of your smallest steps. This is the core takeaway, the bedrock truth. Whether you're paying off debt, building wealth, or mastering a new skill, it's the repeatable actions done day after day, week after week, year after year, that truly compound into significant results. It's the quiet power of the daily $10 saved that grows without you noticing, the weekly 15-minute deep dive into a new skill that expands your income potential, the automated $100 investment that patiently builds your future, the consistent 5-minute review that keeps your financial ship on course. These aren't flashy. They don't make for exciting social media posts, but they are the engine of real, sustainable progress. Now let's talk about the flip side, the consequence of ignoring this fundamental lesson. What happens if you keep waiting for that perfect moment, that big break, that burst of motivation? You get stuck. You fall into the someday loop. You know, someday I'll start saving seriously. Or someday I'll finally learn how to invest. Let's be honest, someday is often just a polite way of saying never. People often oscillate between periods of intense, often unsustainable effort. Maybe you try to budget every penny for a week and burn out, followed by long stretches of complete inaction. This boom and bust cycle makes minimal actual progress. You look at massive goals like becoming debt-free or buying a home and feel utterly overwhelmed because you never build the simple, consistent habit of taking those small, manageable steps towards them. It's like trying to hike a mountain peak without ever putting on your hiking boots for a short trail walk. And you remain vulnerable to financial setbacks, big or small, because you haven't built that crucial resilience muscle, the habit of consistently showing up and doing the small, necessary things even when you don't feel like it, even when things get tough. You are constantly waiting for a magic moment that rarely arrives, while opportunities pass you by because you weren't consistently preparing, weren't consistently taking ground. It's a frustrating place to be, stuck on the starting line because you're planning the marathon, but never taking the first step. So, let's cut through the noise and the overwhelm. Forget trying to implement 10 new habits tomorrow. Forget planning an elaborate, perfect financial overhaul that will take weeks to even document. What is the single doable step you can take today? Not someday, not next week. Today, right now. Pick one tiny thing we've discussed, one simple action that resonates with you and feels manageable. Maybe it's setting up an automated transfer of just $5 or $10 from your checking to your savings account to happen every payday. Maybe it's setting a timer for 15 minutes to watch one educational video or read one article about a money topic you want to understand better. Maybe it's just scheduling a 10-minute calendar event for the end of the week to review your spending. Just one thing. Don't overthink it. Don't optimize it. Just choose one consistent action, no matter how small it feels in the grand scheme of things, and commit to starting it today. Right now, this isn't about achieving instant results. It's about building the habit of action, the habit of showing up. Start that one consistent action, plant that single seed, and trust that your future self, standing on the mountain of consistent progress you've built, will look back and be profoundly grateful you didn't wait, and that you decided to just start. Again, Section 12, wind down, reflective close. So as we wind down today's session, let's take a breath and really absorb what we've covered. The temptation to wait for the perfect time, the big break, the surge of motivation is powerful. It feels like the smart thing to do, to gather all your strength for one massive push. But the truth, the quiet, undeniable truth, is that your momentum, your security, and your ultimate financial freedom are built not in grand gestures, but in the faithful repetition of small, seemingly insignificant actions. That consistent $10 save isn't just $10, it's a brick in your wall of security. That 15 minutes of learning isn't just knowledge, it's leveling up your future earning potential. That automated investment isn't just a number, it's your money working quietly for you while you live your life. The potential long-term benefit of embracing this truth? It's liberation. Liberation from the anxiety of feeling stuck, from the overwhelm of massive goals, from the vulnerability of inaction. It's building resilience, confidence, and a quiet, powerful momentum that eventually feels unstoppable. You stop hoping for a different financial future and start building it, day by day, small step by small step. Here's a deeper insight to leave you with. Money isn't just numbers in a bank account. It's a reflection of your habits, your discipline, and ultimately, your mindset. You build wealth by building the habits that create it. You create financial security by consistently reinforcing secure behaviors. Discipline isn't a limitation. It's the bridge that takes you from where you are to where you want to be. It's the freedom to make choices later because you made small, consistent choices today. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around.